Welcome to Brewing Up Business. I am Tiffany Kellogg and excited to be here today interviewing Tom Fleming on a tip to help you brew up business. Now, before you get to listen to that, do know that we have the video from this recording available on Facebook and YouTube, so you can go there and check it out. And while you're on social media, also follow us on Instagram. And all of the places we're Brewing Up Business without a G, because I'm Southern. Now, I'm very excited to have Tom Fleming with us today. I have known him for almost 14 years now. So I've known him for quite a while, and he's done amazing things for my business. So I thought I would ask him a tip to share with you guys. So thank you so much for joining us today, Tom. Glad to have you with us. So our very first question is, what is one tip that you have to help the listeners brew up some business?
Oh my God, what to choose from? I think probably consistency is the most important aspect of brewing up business. Consistency with your relationships, meaning if you've got a strong relationship, you want to find ways to follow up, be engaged with that particular person. And I know when it comes to the Brewing Up Business events that you all run, consistency is about showing up at 90% of those events, because the same people tend to be attracted, and it's over time that the relationship will be developed.
Wait, so you're saying just coming to Brewing Up Business once, meeting somebody once might not be enough?
It probably not.
Okay.
You know, our goal is to build profitable relationships, and with one interaction with someone, in terms of the VCP model, we're actually moving from invisibility to visibility, but expecting profitability. So many people, define networking as out there shaking hands and passing out business cards, and that's only the tip of the iceberg, the start of the process. It's what happens after that with your consistency and following up with that potential relationship, and being consistent with engaging that person.
Okay, so you mentioned this VCP process.
Yes.
Can you share with the listeners what VCP is all about?
Sure. It's just a relationship development model. I love the chemical symbol for caffeine on your cup there. That's great.
It's a science glass beaker.
Yeah, I see that. That is so cool.
And you get to see my brew of the day, which is hibiscus green tea.
Nice. Excellent.
And for those of you listening and not watching the video, pop over to Facebook or to YouTube and you can see the glass that I've got, but it's a science beaker coffee mug, so it's a little different than your average coffee mug.
I like it. I love unique coffee mugs. But the VCP model, it's a relationship development model that applies to business and personal relationships. And basically what it says is that we move relationships into visibility, and then from visibility, where we acknowledge one another's existence, we hopefully move that relationship to credibility, where we get to know and like and begin to trust one another and see the potential of it being a profitable relationship. Again, business-wise or personally. The main goal is to move that relationship into profitability, where myself and another person in my network are benefiting each other. And going back to the Brewing Up Business events, if we go to one event, we're going to gain some visibility with a lot of people. But how are we going to move those relationships into credibility and then into profitability ultimately? Because if we all have a whole bunch of visible relationships and no credible, no profitable relationships, we're not going to get what I call an ROR, a return on our relationship.
And so if I meet somebody, let's say at a Brewing Up Business event, and I want to take them from that visibility I just met you into profitability, what are some things that I can do consistently to help develop that relationship?
Oh, sure. You might send them a thank you card, a nice to meet you card, or a thank you, nice to meet you email. In that note, you might suggest that you get together for a cup of coffee or a beer, keeping in the theme with brewing up business.
Yep.
And then you want to make an effort to reconnect with them at each brewing up business event and to continue the relationship. I believe it's Dr. Meisner who has a different relationship development follow-up model where within 7 days you would acknowledge that you met the person. Within, I may be getting this wrong, within 14 days you're doing something else, and within 21 days you're doing something else. But the point that he's trying to make, the philosophy, is that success is all in the follow-up, which is part of what consistency is.
Mm.
And I remember when I started networking, I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off, meeting and greeting and saying hello to everybody. So yeah, I had visibility with lots of people. I had no credibility and no profitability. And so when I talk about this concept of ROI, return on relationships, I was broke because I wasn't in any significantly meaningful relationships.
Gotcha. So what can you suggest for people that are having issues creating that consistency within their relationships?
Well, first is the awareness of the fact that we need to be consistent, which hopefully people are getting out of this conversation.
Hopefully.
And then the next is to have a plan to be consistent with the right people.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to use a term that I tend not to use because people think they know everything about strategic alliances. Mm. But really, the goal in business networking is to identify, create, build, and maintain strategic alliances. Who those strategic alliances are for you depends on your target market. And it's funny, I was speaking with a business owner yesterday. What's your target market? I don't know. What I was trying to help them do is identify who they should be in strategic alliance with. And we couldn't do it because they didn't have a target market. But once you have a target market and you know who your potential strategic alliances should be, what industries they're in, so on and so forth, that's when you can pick and choose exactly what relationships you want to invest in.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah. Any other words of wisdom on creating this consistency with our people in our lives?
Well, again, I think it's about having a plan and being disciplined about that plan and realizing that relationships need to be nurtured. Take our relationship, where we're engaging consistently on a daily basis via email. We're engaging with each other on a weekly basis via phone. From time to time, we get together and we have some fun. We do some axe throwing.
Or ice skating.
Or ice skating. And because of that investment on both of our parts, I feel we have a tremendously profitable and, most importantly, fulfilling relationship.
Yeah, definitely. Cool.
Didn't mean to get all mushy here on you.
That's totally fine. It's funny. I think people think business relationships are different than personal relationships. And to me, it's a relationship, regardless of if it's based on business or on personal things going on in the world. And just like if we don't talk to our friends for a while, they don't think of us. I think our business relationships have to have the same thing.
Yeah. We're taught so much about business from a cerebral perspective, a mental, we go to business school, we take business classes, we read business books, and all of that stuff is up here. But really, relationships are all about, meeting people in the heart space. And So it is a big transition for people to take themselves out of that headspace and move into a heart space to build, again, meaningful relationships with people that impact us business-wise, but also personally. And I think people who miss that fact miss the opportunity to create and build a depth of relationship with people.
Yeah.
That is helpful in so many ways to them personally, but also to the people that we're in relationship with. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing your tip on here's what you can do to help brew up some business. Last question I have for you. What's your favorite brew? And that could be, coffee, beer, wine. No, not wine. Wine's not brewed. Whatever.
I get you. That's a toss-up. In the morning, it's definitely about my coffee. And in the evening, it's definitely about having a beer. And I enjoy the IPAs, specifically the double IPAs, and the Belgium beers. Probably my favorite IPA lately is a beer called The Calling, which, again, is a double IPA.
I don't know if I've had that one yet.
Oh my goodness, you're missing out, and this is a gift I want to give to you today in pursuit of strengthening our relationship, to share with you that you're missing out by not
I will have to. Rob will probably be like, Tiffany, you've had it before and you love it, but I don't. There's so many beers. How do you remember them all? But we will try The Calling.
Very good.
Thank you so much for being here with us today, Tom, and sharing your wisdom.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Hopefully you're going to be working on consistency within your relationships now, taking them to the next level. And if you're like, Tiffany, I don't have time for that. Do you remember we have the 13 months a year program now available online? You can go check that out. Perhaps that can help you out. And while you're there, also you can check out our sponsor, Ascensive Tampa. We were glad to have you sponsoring us again. And I want to wish you all a lovely day, and cheers.